What's this past week been like for you?
Well, we technically haven't been real life in the protesting because they're not allowing us to be in it. Well, it's not that they're not allowing us. They don't want us to get arrested and the police feel like they have something against us when time comes for us to actually present ourselves on our case. Seeing the support and the love that my sister's actually getting has been very, very nice, but it's just rough when the rioters, the ones who's breaking into buildings, try to attach her name to that, because that's not who my sister was.
Who was your sister?
My sister, like my mom said before, she's the perfect person. Even though there's no perfect person, she literally was the perfect person. She was genuinely sweet and she cared for everybody. When I say everybody, I mean everybody. Doesn't matter.
Do you have like favorite memories with your sister?
Like the car rides was fun with my sister. They're like the funnest things ever. She'd be like, oh yeah, what are you doing this weekend? I'd be like, nothing. She'd be like, okay, well let's go to North Carolina. Okay, well let's just go. Like we would just get up and do anything in the car. Like,
and what would you do when you're in the car with her?
Sing. Well, she would sing even though I told her she can't, but she did anyways.
Not a good voice?
No, not at all.
Well, what songs would she sing to?
She sung just any song that she actually had on her phone. Her favorite, well, it's not really her favorite song, but a song she wanted to get married to was My Everything by Mary J. Blige. So she sung that one with every piece of voice she had in her throat.
Your sister was an EMT, but she wanted to be a nurse. Why'd she want to be a nurse?
She wanted, being an EMT was fun, but she wanted to be more hands-on in the actual hospital. She wanted to be able to connect with her patients, take her time with them, versus in the EMT, when they're in their truck, they only get maybe up to 30 minutes, depending on how far the hospital is with them. And then when they're in the hospital, they're transferred to their nurses within the hospital. So, and then she goes back onto another case. Versus in the hospital, she can be assigned to patients. And she just wanted to be able to take her time with a person, understand this person, help this person better. Like, she was one of those, there's a problem, we're gonna fix your problem. And we're gonna take our time fixing our problem. We're gonna try different solutions to fix your problem. She just loved it.
She liked to help people.
Yes, but she wanted to be more either a NICU or an ER nurse because it's more fast and it's different cases. You get spontaneous with those. Like, you get so many different things. And she kind of liked new cases. I don't know why, but she did.
Did she talk to you about the plans that she had for the future?
So she was looking forward. She really was looking forward to having a kid. That's really been taken from her, and I don't think it's fair. But she really wanted to have a kid. She had just started collecting, my sister was she was really big into shoes. So she had just started collecting Jordans that she already had that other people were trying to get rid of that she had, so that way when she had her kid, they can actually match. Because I don't know why, but she thought that was cute, but it was kind of corny to me. She actually had a kid name picked out. If her and Kenny would ever have a daughter, that they had an actual name picked out for this kid.
So they were planning on getting married?
Yeah. I had just found out recently that he already had an engagement ring picked out. So yeah, it kind of sucks that she didn't get to go through it.
Has it been hard to sit on the sidelines as people protest police injustice when your family has experienced this firsthand?
Well, for me, I wouldn't be able to do it anyways. I have real bad anxiety, so I would probably panic anyways because I'm not really good with crowds. But if I was able to do it, I would honestly love to be in there. I would like to be hands-on and into that. I would if I could. If I could manage it my personal self, I would love to be in it.
What is it like to see people here in your city, see people on TV around the country say her name and say your sister's name?
Well, it feels really nice because the first 2 months, it was real life hard because the people here, some people knew about her, some people didn't. It was kind of mixed about it, but it was hard and it felt real lonely for my family because it felt like we were just in the fight by ourselves and there was nobody else in the fight with us. So now knowing that there is other people and there's people that's willing to help, that's willing to stand up for her, that's willing to help us be her voice, it feels great because it no longer feels lonely anymore. I know it technically wasn't 50 people, but I felt like it was just me and 50 people who knew my sister's name. And with the news, the way the news articles were making her seem, it looks like, I don't know how to say it. It just looked like a case going wrong to the people until we actually spoke out and were correcting people, correcting the news as a family with our lawyers, correcting her name. Because originally they were calling her a suspect. She is not a suspect. They were trying to say my sister was in some drug ring. She's not in a drug ring. I lived in that house. I know firsthand there's no drugs in that house. And they were making it seem like it was. So it was the loneliest 2 months, the loneliest fight. Now I'm grateful that there's people helping us. There's no words to describe the thank you that I can give people, because technically her name could still be going silent, like they were trying to sweep it under the rug, but now it's not being swept under anymore.
What is it like to experience that when you're the one who knows your sister and other people are saying things about her?
You have to be hushed. Oh, I have to bite my tongue because I can't correct you. Because if I correct you, then it could be people feeling like, oh, you all are just rude people, but it's not necessarily that we're rude. I wish we can be able to tell you, like, I wish you can be in my shoes so you can be like, oh, that is real life, not the person that the world is trying to make her be. Because she literally was the sweetest person ever, literally. Like, when I say sweet, I mean sweet. And I'm not saying it because it's my sister and I want her name to feel better and anything like that. She literally was the sweetest person. I have friends, when my sister passed away, they were telling me like they admired me and her sister, our relationship. They wish their and their siblings were like that. And I'm like, I wish it was too, but you get what you get.
So you were very close.
Yeah, that was my only sister. I have a brother too, but I'm grateful because my sister left all her friends. Now I have multiple sisters now.
Your sister's name is being said, especially in Louisville, especially in Kentucky, but around the country. Do you feel like your sister's death is getting as much attention as it should?
Around the country, no, but I think that's more so because women are usually always downputted. So because a man died before her and a man passed away after her, her name kind of got smothered. Some people know, some people don't, but her name got smothered because there's no video to attach to my sister. There's no way to attach a video versus everybody else, there's videos to attach. I mean, I wish there was a video you can attach, but there's like no way to attach a video to my sister. If there was a video attached, I think the world may have known her name a lot better. But since there's no video attached, it's gonna be hard to keep getting her name noticed because people, nowadays, it's more so, we're more visual.
There's no video of what happened to your sister. Do you think that makes it easier for people to create a different narrative about what happened?
Yes, it's a lot of he say, she said. Because the video could have just shown you it. Versus now that there's no video, everybody gets to make their own story. Like when I say everybody, I mean everybody, and you can't know the real story because she's physically not here to tell what happened. If she was here to tell what happened, I think it would be a lot different.
You were living with her at the time, but you weren't there when it happened. Have you imagined what could have happened if you were there?
My mama really could be burying us both.
You've thought about that?
Yeah, I've actually cried about it a lot because that's my room. I don't know if there's actual images out of the room, but from me going in there having to pack my stuff, I would have been dead too. Because there was literally nowhere for me to hide. There was nothing. I would have gotten hit whichever way I went in my room. I couldn't hide behind a dresser. I couldn't hide behind my headboard. I couldn't hide in my closet. There was bullets everywhere.
Wait, when you say that was your room, what do you mean?
Like, me and my sister's room were next door to each other. There was my room. Like, from the images when it first happened, all the bullets went into my room. They went to my room, in my bathroom, in the hallway, in the kitchen, in the dining room area. There really aren't any bullets found in her room. Maybe one or two, but that's it.
So if it happened on a different night, you might have...
Oh yeah, definitely. My mom definitely would be burying us both. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
How are you so calm about this?
I actually take a depression medicine, so it kind of mellows me out. So that way I don't sit around and cry all day.
Is that what was happening before?
No. I stopped taking my medicine at first because my doctor asked me to stop taking it so I can cry and have a moment. But now that I'm taking it again, I do cry time to time, but it's a lot better than it was at first.
What does justice for Breonna Taylor mean for you?
Those 3 officers being fired. And I would have said the chief too, but he's already gone. But those 3 officers being fired would say a lot, mean a lot.
should it just end there? Like, do you think that it is enough to punish those officers?
I feel like there's a lot of rules that need to be changed. There's a lot of things that need to go about. And I'm not even just speaking from my sister's perspective. There's a lot of things that has to change within the city before there can actually be a real justice. Like, they're supposed to be wearing body cams. As you all found out the other day, they're still not wearing their body cams. Why is it not being enforced? It's being told but not enforced. It needs to be enforced. Like, they enforced everybody in these protesters, like these last few nights, they've been tear gassing them and everything. Why is there no discipline for you all officers if they're not wearing what you demanded them to wear? Them no-knocks need to go.
Did you know that there was such a thing as no-knock search warrants or raids before this happened?
Honestly, I knew about raids, but I never knew what brought raids to come. And I honestly thought, because I watch a lot of TV, I thought raids usually come for high-profile cases. This isn't a high-profile case.
Like, even if what they thought was at that house was at that house?
It still wouldn't have been cause for a no-knock. No. Because you all did a no-knock and found nothing.
I spoke to a family that was the victim of a raid, a mistaken raid. And they filed a lawsuit last October, essentially warning that this practice could lead to someone's death.
And look what it did. It led to a whole person's death, an innocent person.
What was that day like for you? Do you remember?
I remember that day. My mom called and she just kept repeating, when are you coming home? I was like, I come home Tuesday. She kept repeating herself. And I'm like, Mama, what are you trying to say that you're beating around the bush? And she was like, Breonna. I was like, what? She's like, she's dead. I said, what did she crash into? That was my first word. I honestly felt like my sister would have died from a car crash before she would have died from being shot mistakenly. But she was like, she was shot by the police. And I'm like, are you serious? And she was like, yeah. So I hung up on my mom and I called my dad. And I broke down to my dad and I'm like, Daddy, they killed my sister. And he was he was confused. He was like, what do you mean they killed your sister? I'm like, Daddy, Breonna's not here. And I'm crying, so it's kind of hard for him to hear me. And I'm like, Daddy, they killed my sister. Like, I have to get home now. Like, they killed my sister. Like, Daddy, I don't know how I'm finna get home, but I'm finna figure it out. Like, even though my flight's not till Tuesday, I'm finna try to figure out how I can get home. Because this doesn't seem right. Because all I got told was that your sister's dead from my mom.
You were on a trip.
Mm-hmm. Me and my friend were on actual FaceTime, actually. And she was like, hey, somebody got shot on your street. I'm like, oh, probably those crazy people at the corner of the street. Let me call my sister and her boyfriend so they can go outside and tell me what's going on down the street because I want to meddle, even though I'm not at home. I called both of them and I'm like, okay, maybe they're just asleep because it is past midnight their time because in California where they're at is behind. So I'm like, yeah, it's probably past midnight. Knowing my sister, she's definitely asleep. So I'm like, okay. They're just asleep. So I'm back on the phone. And that's when my mom ended up calling and she told me. So I called my dad and I'm like, yeah, my sister's passed away. Then I called my other best friend, Nashawn. And I'm like, crying on the phone. I'm like, Breonna's dead. I said, I don't know what happened. I need you to go find my mom and them. I need you to kind of like keep me updated on what's going on. All I know is she's been shot. And I don't know how many times. I don't know anything. I just know she's been shot and I need you to go figure out what's happening so you can tell me. Because my mom obviously can't talk to me because she couldn't even bear to tell me herself. So my grandma had actually went ahead and booked me a plane ticket to get me home so that way I can be here. I ended up getting here like 11 o'clock that night. And in the midst of the time, I was learning a lot of details in between time because my planes had got delayed.
You were on the West Coast?
Yeah, I was in San Diego. And my plane got delayed in Phoenix, Arizona on my way home. So, yeah, and I just was like, what happened? Like, I talked to my cousin, I was like, can you tell me what happened? She's like, your sister's been shot. And I called them like 11 in that morning, close to noon, and all I remember was them telling me my sister was still in that house. I'm like, what do you mean? Why is her body still in there? Her body should have been gone by now. But they're telling me her actual body was still in that house. And I'm like, that's sick and ridiculous. And then finding out that what the police asked my mom when they came out and asked her about my sister is like wasn't cause for. And they didn't let my mom identify my sister. They identified her themselves. And hearing my mom tell me also when I got home that they didn't know she was EMT. So when they were going to leave out the apartment, they grabbed her jacket, her EMT jacket, because it hung on the back of our door. And they were like, somebody left their jacket. My mom kept telling him, no, that's my daughter's jacket. And the man kind of was like, no, it's not. My mom said, yes, it is. Her initials was on the front of that jacket, B. Taylor. And she said she would never forget that face, the look on his face. It kind of was like, are you serious? We killed one of our own? Yeah. Yeah. It was the hardest, most slowest day ever.
And you had to fly back. What was that flight like?
I cried the whole flight. You know, my actual last flight flying in, I sat next to a nurse, and he asked me why I was crying, and I was like, apparently my sister's been shot by the police, so I'm flying home to be there for my mom and to figure out what actually happened to my sister. And he was like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. I said she was a ER nurse, and I told him what hospital. He was just like, that's what's so crazy is I'm going to fill in for the downtown version of your sister hospital. And he was just basically telling me he was sorry, and he cried with me on the airplane. It was really the hardest day.
And do you remember when you arrived at the airport? Did your mom or family meet you at the airport?
My cousin came and picked me up from the airport, and then they took me to my auntie's house, and everybody was over there still. We got here what? I got here about 11:30. I got here actually 11:34.
I mean, we're in the middle of a historic moment. People are protesting in every single state across the country. In every single one, at least someone is saying your sister's name. What sort of change do you hope your sister's name helps bring about in this country?
I mean, there's awareness, but I hope her name really brings bigger awareness. I hope her name makes police enforcement want to tighten up and correct themselves before they make another mistake. I don't want anybody to keep going down the same road. I really do want it to be different for everybody. We shouldn't have to keep doing this over and over again. It's starting to become tiring.
Are there things that you've wished that you could tell people or change about the conversation about your sister?
I want people to stop saying, once you mess with someone who's involved with drugs, you're always tied to drugs. That's not true. It's not true at all. I want people to just stop being hateful towards her name, because she really was not a hateful person.
Who's being hateful toward her name?
There's a lot of white folks being hateful towards her name. A lot of them being men, actually. A lot of them are being nasty. But I can't really say it's them to be blamed. It's years and years back to be blamed.
Do you think that what happened to your sister would have happened if you lived in a different neighborhood?
Yeah. Even if we lived in a different neighborhood, it could happen to anybody. I feel like it really could. Well, I say it could have happened to anybody, but...
Could it have?
Not really.
Can you name a white person who was accidentally killed by the police in their home?
No. Because most times it happens when the police go to a white person's home, they take their time. They knock and knock and knock until that person answers the door. And if they bust in their door, actually when they're knocking at their door, they're announcing themselves. And most of the time, they wait to catch them as they're walking into their houses. So that way there's no surprises. Versus my sister being black, it was supposed to be a surprise. And it was supposed to startle her. That's not right. It's just not.
You frustrated?
I'm trying my hardest not to cry. I hate crying.
I've cried while here.
I absolutely hate crying.
Why? What's wrong with crying?
Nothing's wrong with crying. I just don't like it. And then a lot of people don't realize, like, my life had to change in a moment. Not in days, in a moment. I had to uproot my norm to make a new norm. And it's not fair at all that I have to make a new normal.
It wasn't your decision, it was taken away from you.
No, but it's not fair to have to make a new normal. It's not fair that my family has to make a new normal. When I tell you, it's so weird being at family functions and not seeing her come in being goofy. It is so weird. It's so weird that her birthday is Friday and she is not getting on my last nerve talking about, does this match? Does this look right? Am I gonna look cute for my birthday? I got a hair appointment this day. You need to do this for me. It's so weird for her not to give me demands to make sure her birthday goes right for herself.
Her birthday's on Friday?
Yeah. And it makes me even more upset because we had big plans for my 21st birthday because we're exactly 6 years and 6 months apart to the day. It's upsetting.
What do you have planned for Friday?
We are actually having we're having a balloon release on Saturday for her. And then there's gonna be a birthday party to follow. Friday, there's this guy whose birthday it is, and he said instead of honoring him, he wants to have an honorary birthday party for my sister.
When my dad was 25, my grandfather died like 9 months before I was born, just before they had told him that my mom was pregnant. And one thing that he told me about the day that my grandfather died, you know, because he was young, that he'll never forget is that when he left the hospital, everything was normal outside. You know, the world was just continuing.
Oh my God. That's exactly how I felt that first week. It was just like, I wouldn't say it because I'm not a rude person, but I was just like, it's crazy how people's life don't take a pause because mine's did. Nobody's life got to stop and then snap back because everybody, but it's so crazy that the world continues on with or without the person. People got to get up out their bed the next day and continue their norm. I didn't. I had to stop for a while, then continue on to something I did on the daily, but it wasn't my norm anymore.
Are there rituals that you've put in place or things that you've changed to help adjust?
I kind of like make myself busy so I can't sit at home and mourn. That's what I have to do for a while. At first I was more so trying to tell myself, your sister's just on a vacation, she'll be back. But I had to stop telling myself that because she's not gonna come back. And I kept trying to justify the fact that she's not gonna ever come back. It's weird, but like, you know how there's some people in your family you just don't ever expect to pass away so young? She was the person that nobody would have ever expected. Like, it's one of those like, this is weird.
Why is that?
Like like I told you before, like she was the perfect person. So you would have never thought like this perfect person will, to me, in my head, I probably thought my sister would never die, honestly. It was just like, oh yeah, you're never gonna die. Like, it doesn't matter, whatever you do, you're never gonna die. Like.
Has anyone apologized to you?
Nobody's reached out to my family from the police department, no.
No one, not even on the side?
I've actually I work in a pharmacy, and there's an actual guy, he's actually a cop. He came in his uniform because we have to do these calls that we have to remind people like, hey, your prescription's been ready for a week. And I called him, and he was telling me he didn't even know who I was on the phone. He was like, yeah, I'll be by. You know, there's a lot of rioting going on in our city, so it's kind of been rough to be able to get to the pharmacy to get my prescription. He was like, but I should be up there today. I said, you know, just in case you're not here today, I'm putting 3 more days on your prescriptions, where to the point they're not gonna put your prescriptions back. So your prescriptions are safe for 3 more days if you can't make it today. And he actually came in 30 minutes later, and he was like, I just wanna ask you a genuine question, how are you? And I asked him, do you want my true opinion, or do you want my opinion that won't make you feel bad? He said he wanted my true opinion. I said, Breonna Taylor was my sister. I said, so I'm not doing okay. I would never be normal again. And he kind of like stopped. He got teary-eyed and he told me, I'm sorry. He said, not all of us are bad. He said, I really am sorry. And he kept saying he was sorry. And like, I kept trying to like avoid contact with him because I didn't want to cry and I didn't want him to see my frustration within his department. So I kind of just kept avoiding contact, and he was like, you have to stop. You have to be able to face us at some point in life. He said, I want you to know I'm sorry. He just kept repeating it, and he stopped by my store, actually. They told me he stopped by my store later that day, and I wasn't there, because he wanted to talk, but I wasn't there.
Do you think that was for you, or do you think that was for him?
It was for both. Because I know, because there's people I've talked to whose people work within the department, and a lot of them feel real bad. A lot of them wish, they have some wishes within themselves that they wish they can go against their department and speak on some things that they can't speak on. But like I've told, like they say, they have to keep their mouths closed because that is their job. That's how they feed their families.
You said, I will never be normal. I'll never be totally okay again. You feel that way?
I mean, eventually, later on down the road, there will be a new norm. But right now, my norm got slipped away in a moment. So it's going to be hard for me to be able to find a new norm when I'm constantly having to go with my mom to interviews. I'm having to plan something, or I'm having to just do anything to help my sister's name.
What do you do right now? You turned 21 in 6 months? 6 months and 2 days?
Yeah. My plan was to go to Gatlinburg for a week with my friends, and my sister was supposed to go with us, but I don't know what we're gonna do now. I think I might still go to Gatlinburg with my friends because I don't want to just ruin our trip.
When I said, what are you doing? Like, are you working right now?
I do work still, but I got my hours cut for a while because it just was a lot. I couldn't jump back into 40 hours immediately. So I'm taking a cut for a while, but I work, and I get my goddaughter a lot more than I used to. Like, we real life hang out, and I don't know what's wrong with me. Why do I feel like I have to have a 2-year-old friend? She kind of gives me comfort though. I occupy myself with my friends too. We go and eat ice cream all the time.
Is there something specific that you hope to eventually do?
I wanted to be a midwife for the longest, and then I watched a couple videos and I was just like, yeah, never mind. Too much blood. Nope, I'm not gonna do that. But I've thought about being a therapist because I like to be able to talk to people, and I like to help somebody with their problems.
Have you been going to therapy?
No. I'm supposed to, but I don't know. Because I'm not comfortable yet to be able to talk to people. But when I get comfortable, I am gonna do it.